Everybody, my name is Mitchell Spence, and I'm here today to share with you guys some tips as well as some facts and show you guys the impact waste management has on our daily lives. So, first off, let's start this off. To get this into perspective, the United States as itself, if you were to go and take the TCF football stadium from the ground and fill it all the way up to the nosebleed seats, it would be filled with trash, and that's only in a 24-hour grace period. So my goal here is to really share with you guys the importance of waste management and why everybody should really be self-conscious about it. So the problem is disposing waste. It's a long-term and it's an unhealthy goal. The waste doesn't just get exposed or disposed, it goes to landfills and other things like that. So 40% of the food that is bought in the United States is wasted, which is equivalent to $43 billion. And if that doesn't really get you into perspective, where do these products go? Well, they go straight to landfills, they go to compost piles, they go to your recycling bin and other areas. And the thing is that some of these areas aren't the most efficient, and the problem is that most of the food that's getting thrown away these days is fruits and vegetables. So those foods that have long longevity of life. So where do these products go? Like I said, landfills, composts, and recycling, and I'm going to go in depth about what those actually are a little bit later. But the second problem is the plastic movement. So the plastic movement originated in the 60s and 70s, and it was when plastic first came out. Their main goal was to have all these people strive for, or actually it was mothers at home, to strive for more free time. And if they were able to go and throw these things away efficiently and conveniently, then it gave them that. Well, now in the 20th century, it's kind of came back and haunted us because now we have all these big piles of trash. And a matter of fact, we have a size of trash, the size of the state of Texas in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And when I say the state of Texas, it's not actually like the state of Texas in just one big island. It's dispersed throughout it. And Joe Rogan actually did a study, and when they went and scraped a little cup on the top of the ocean, they ended up finding a 10-to-1 a 10-to-1 ratio, and it was pertaining to the 1 being living organisms and the other 10 actually being plastic material. So what they were doing is they were figuring out that it was going into the fish's bloodstream once they were consuming it, and then eventually later on leading to going and getting into these people's foods. And for all those the Middle Eastern countries as well as Japan, out east and whatnot, those are the ones that really thrive on the fresh fish. So what will happen in the future, I'm not too sure. Possibly genetic defects in fish or human beings possibly. So it's not environmentally friendly, and we've created a material that we can't even go and decompose efficiently or 100%, which doesn't make much sense to me. If you're going to go and invent something, you should go and create a way of disposing it 100%. And 500 billion to 1 trillion plastic bags are produced yearly. And why? Because 40% of that, because plastic bags are 40% cheaper than conventional bags. And the problem with that is that plastics cover up or use up 4% of all oils, and the oils that they use are crude oil, and unfortunately crude oil is a non-renewable source. So there needs to be a way to compensate for that. So humans produce, customers buy, and then humans try to dispose of it. Well, the garbage in the end ends up in the ocean, and it takes thousands of years to actually dispose. So I'm going to go talk about what are the most common ways of disposing of this material. Well, right now the most common ways are landfills, but the problem with that is it takes 1,000+ years to actually go and decompose. It releases methane gas, which isn't healthy to the environment and civilizations around it, as well as how are we going to let these future generations know exactly how we're going to go and decompose at these nuclear sites at this hundreds of thousands of years down the road. It's going to be hard to kind of make the technology match up and then get that data out of it. So another way that we use these days is we redispose and we reuse, and we turn products into, for instance, this carpet is about 90% plastic or other plastic materials. The clothing you wear, if you were to go and throw that away, it would go directly to a landfill. And what redisposing really does is it just kind of leans out all of our waste that we're going and putting into the earth. And some companies and schools have actually gotten into it, like UW La Crosse. They go and dispose of this, and they dispose of foods, but the way they dispose of it is they go and give it to the needy and give it to the the homeless as well, excuse me. And the problem right now with that is that the government goes and they have stipulations to make it so we can't go and donate these foods. So if we if we talk to the government and have them go and kind of revamp their whole cycle and figure out ways to go and push this through and let people donate to the homeless, I think we'll see a drastic change in landfill usage. So, and what I found the most effective ways to go and get rid of waste would be incineration, which is if landfills get full, then it goes in you go and grab all this waste, you put it into a massive area, and you go and basically burn it, and it condenses at 20 to 30%. And that's only if landfills are full. So yes, it's helpful, but long term, I mean, it's not really reasonable. So another one is recovering and recycling. And basically what that is you're taking all these plastic bottles that you get, extracting all the material, and then putting them elsewhere and making them into different materials. It's not very efficient, it's expensive. You don't really see it very often. It's kind of misleading. In composting, for instance, that's where all the organic foods go. The problem with composting is that you're basically getting all these fresh fruits and veggies, and you're dispersing them across a massive area. And what's going to happen is it's going to bake in the sun, and it's going to destroy all bacteria and living organisms in it. And then it can be recycled into, say soy or even garden dirt or anything for organic farms as well. And the one that I found most interesting was the plasma glassification, and this kind of is off a TED Talks thing, but it burns waste at 12,600 degrees, and an incinerator is basically what it is. So when I was researching this TED Talk article, it was talking about what's the most efficient way, and what she was stating was that you would put it into a capsule, and you would float all this waste off into space, into the nearest incinerator, which would be the sun. Well, the problem with that is it's extremely expensive, but if you were to wait over time as technology advances, you might find a more efficient way of getting to that. So that, on the other hand, is an extremely good way, and what happens is it turns all of that garbage into fossil fuels. So it's a way to revamp all that, and if we can really push plasma glassification, we can go and minimize all landfills all around. So how to make this on a mass, how do we make this a mass scale type of reduction in waste management? Well, first off, you have to start at the very bottom. You have to start with individuals, and we can reuse products. We need to use biodegradable products. That's what I found most interesting and most helpful. And it'll really help if you can just gain self-awareness by looking at your surroundings and just knowing what materials are actually plastic and what aren't. So, concluding, I'd like to say it's easy to see how many times, or how many pollutants are around. It's easy to see because we have rapid growth, we have an economic increase, we live off packaged items from grocery stores and manufacturers, as well as companies trying to find the cheapest way of material, which in the end is plastic. Plastic is outrageously cheap, and that's part of the reason why we have such a drastic increase in plastics as the years go on. So, thanks to the awareness on management, we can now educate people and really let them understand the benefits of recycling and reusing, and the problems with the mass production, and how to make a healthier place and environment really for the long run and for future generations. So I'd like to make this toast out to let's make this world ours again. Let's go green.